All right, perfect. All right, guys, happy Saturday. Happy Saturday. We just had what in my opinion is a pretty intense conversation, but also an ownership conversation, a very, very strong ownership conversation of which I realize there's a lot of things that I need to implement in order to take this organization to the next level. And I'm the first one to tell you I'll take complete responsibility for it. But let's get right into some of the training, okay? Let's talk about annuities for a moment. Let's talk about what an annuity is, what are the benefits of an annuity, but then in the same token, how to find them, right? In this business, you first become a finder before you become a closer. It's just a natural progression, right? Becoming a finder means you know what to look for. Becoming a finder means you know what the benefits are, but you don't 100% yet know what the negatives are of them. You don't 100% know, how to design them, which exact company to go with, what are the specific features. You don't know that part, but you do know what the benefits are, and you do know what questions to ask to find the opportunities. Becoming a finder can sometimes make you more money. Honestly, can make you a heck of a lot more money than becoming a closer. Now, I'm not going to tell you that becoming a closer isn't valuable. The goal here is for everybody to become a closer. That's why it's called Closers College. The goal here is for everybody to become a closer. Why? Because imagine if you've got 30, 40 people in your agency who know how to find business, but they don't know how to close it. Don't you think that makes you a very valuable individual? It does. It makes you very, very valuable to everybody who's finding an opportunity at the fact that you know how to close that opportunity. And then what happens is you get brought into the cases for joint work. Closers are always going to be in demand, guys. But a closer, to become a closer, you got to first learn how to become an amazing finder. Because a closer's going to give birth to so many finders, which is going to cause so much business. And out of all the finders, I wish it was I wish it was a 1-to-1 conversion, but it's not. You get 10 finders, one of those people become a closer. Not because the 10 people don't have the capacity or the ability to, but 100% because the 10 people, there's one person that takes it serious, and this person finds 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 times more opportunities than these other 9. And as a result, they learn because they experience more meetings than the rest of it. And they learn how to become a closer themselves, right? So this is kind of like the chicken and the egg scenario, right? What came first, the chicken or the egg? What came first, right? Some people will argue and say, no, man, listen, the finders come first. The closers come first. I'll tell you, you want to become an amazing closer, you first got to become an amazing finder. You got to know how to find the business. Because you got, I know who's an amazing finder in this organization. And when they call me and they say, hey, I've got a meeting, they're 100% on my radar. I got you. You got my attention because they know how to find business. I want to work in meetings just like you guys do that prove results. And believe it or not, we all have a track record or a resume that we're creating. That resume started from the moment you came on board. That resume is tracking how long did it take for you to go from non-licensed to licensed? How long did it take for you to go from licensed to contract? How long did it take you to go from contracting to first piece of business? How many meetings did it take for you to schedule to get that? Like, you're building your resume, and your resume is what creates the demand. The people that are always in highest demand to a closer are the people who will become the best finders. Simple. I have my handful of guys right now that are turning in annuity business, and I know if they call me up and they're like, hey, I got another potential annuity, boom, they're on my radar because they're good finders. So your job today is to learn how to become a really, really good finder, because then you get to work with the best closers. And the best closers are always going to extend their calendar to you. And the best closers are going to always make sure they're available to you. And they're going to teach you the ropes of why this company versus that company. They're going to teach you this. You're going to be involved in the scripts more than anybody else who's sitting on the sideline. Whoever finds the most makes the most. Whoever finds the most learns the most, right? So what is an annuity? An annuity is an investment vehicle. It's an investment vehicle that doesn't require medical underwriting. So someone who has bad health, they could still get into an annuity. An annuity is a vehicle, one of very few vehicles that provides lifetime income options. So think about this for a moment. And I don't mind if you unmute yourself and you want to kind of chime in. Think about this piece right here for a moment. What are some of the investments out there that you can say can generate a monthly stream of income to replace someone's employment income? Maybe not 100% of it, but 20% of it. What are some investments out there that people get into because of the income potential that they provide? I can only think of one outside of an annuity. Anybody know what that one is? Anybody? Real estate. Real estate is the only investment vehicle that I can think of in my 15 years that you buy into it and you either want to flip it, right? You bought it for 100, you invest 20 grand into it, you're now 120 in, you sell it for 200, you made an $80,000 profit. Or you buy a property and then you do what with it?
Bill.
You rent it. You rent it out. And when you rent it out, you're charging them enough rent that either the mortgage is paid and then there's a net difference, right? So let's say you buy into, the more common ones are like quadplexes and duplexes. That's like investment property heaven. You buy a quadplex, 4 houses in one. Let's say you buy the entire unit for $500,000. The mortgage on a $500,000, loan is somewhere in the $3,000 range. Right? So you got a $3,000 mortgage on a $500,000 property, but because there's 4 properties, you rent out each of them for $2,000 a month. Right? 2, 4, 6, 8. So now you're generating $8,000 worth of income, gross, $3,000 mortgage. You take the 8, pay the mortgage, you have $5,000 left over. That $5,000 becomes the rental income for the investor. And as long as you got all 4 properties rented out forever, you always got $5,000 coming in. Obviously, there's different factors, right? You've got, inflation, cost of living, all that stuff adjusts. But, let's remove all of that and just have a very basic conversation. That's the concept behind it. That's the concept. I'm going to invest into this property, right? Chances are they're going to put maybe, they put 20% down. So they put 100 grand of their own money. They borrow the other $400,000 to get a mortgage at $3 grand a month to rent and make $8,000 of gross income. So because that $5 grand is what they need. So let me ask you this question though. What are the risks that a landlord has when investing into rental property? Anybody?
Maintenance.
Maintenance, that's right.
And people destroying the property.
Oh, say that again, Lulu.
People stop paying the rent.
That's right. Evictions, right? People's inability to pay. I mean, that's very important. It's so important that all 4 people are paying. Because if you lose one person, that's $2,000 you're chasing after. You lose 2 people, that's $4,000, right? You lose 3 people, you're not making enough money to even pay the cost of it. Okay. Anybody else? Any other risks?
Taxes.
Good one. That's right. Taxes, 100%. Right? You're making rental income, which means you've got to declare that at the end of the year as what I believe is capital gains tax. Right? I believe it's capital gains tax that you've got to declare. Okay. Anybody else? What about this one? Ready? What about market risk? Right?
What was it, Tony?
Market risk.
Market. Oh, so depreciation.
Yeah, the value of the property drops. And you might say to yourself, well, why does that affect rental income? Here's why it affects it. When the value of properties drop in a geographical location, when they drop enough, what ends up happening is new buyers are coming in and they're buying properties at a lower price. When when Kobe, come here. Sorry, come here. When enough new houses are being bought, well, not new houses, but when there's enough new landlords around your property, they're going to start renting it out at a lower cost than you. And that brings the rental value down. So now what happens is you got tenants that either don't renew their leases because the building next door is cheaper, or tenants that quite frankly walk away from your locations, right? And then now all of a sudden you're like, man, I gotta rent it out, but I gotta rent it out at a lower cost. So my $8,000 of gross income just dropped to six maybe, right? Like that's a risk. That's a risk. And if you notice, I'm using a quadplex, 4 properties, right? It takes someone with really good credit. It takes somebody with a substantial amount of money to get into those types of properties. 500,000 is very conservative for a quadplex. Quadplexes can sometimes go for 750,000. Why am I using quadplex as a much more flexible solution? Because there's 4 renters. Sometimes people don't have that. They have to buy a house and they have 1 renter. That's a lot of exposure. If that 1 renter doesn't pay, you lost 100% of your rental income. If you have 4 renters and 1 doesn't pay, at least you still got 3/4, right? But market risk. Let's talk about maintenance for a minute when it comes to real estate. You know, when people retire, that's what they want to do. They want to retire. You know, they don't want to have to worry about their where they're getting their income. Renting, becoming a landlord, unfortunately, you're always kind of clocked in a little bit. Because here's the piece. If you're taking care of the maintenance, you're either hiring a maintenance company, which takes away from your rental income, or you're the one doing the maintenance. A lot of people, especially middle America, they end up being the maintenance because their margin of profit isn't big enough for them to hire a maintenance company or an association company to handle those things, or a property management company. So they take care of it, which means what? The person's always clocked in. I got a husband and wife team in South Carolina. They're on my social media. Husband flips properties and rents them. And 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, he posted a video of one of his houses that he has rented. He had to evict the people because they weren't paying. It took him 3 months to evict them. Because it's not like, oh, you're not paying, leave. Just so you know, it's not that easy. Right? You're not paying, they could anchor themselves down. You got to go through the right procedures. You pay for court costs. You got to pay for a police officer to come and deliver the paperwork. You got to do a 3-day notice. The person in the house can appeal the court notice. And if they appeal the court notice, now you got another 45 days that you got to give them to come up with why they're appealing it, why they're objecting to the eviction. I mean, it could take 3 to 6 months before you can get that person out of the property. Only reason I know that very well is because my ex-wife was a property manager, and that's exactly what people did when she was doing evictions. It's like they knew they could stretch it out 6 months if they wanted to, in just sending back appeal letters to the court system before, you know, the sheriff actually came in knocking on the door and kicked them out. That's 6 months. I mean, that's a big risk. It's a lot of income you're losing. But anyhow, he's talking about this on the live video, and he goes into this house. Guys, this house was destroyed. This house, the owners had dogs, they had cats. There was one room in the back where I swear to you, the dogs were there all day long because the amount of feces that was on the floor was incredible. I don't know how people live like that. I mean, they left all of their belongings in there. Everything was a filthy mess. The garbage was disgusting. The refrigerator was one of those kinds of refrigerators. You ever seen kind of like that is it the Learning Channel? I'm not sure. The hoarding. You guys seen hoarding? Right? You open that person's fridge and it's like penicillin, just mold everywhere. Like it's a kind of fridge that you just want to tape up and throw it out. You don't want to open it, just throw it out. I mean, he walked into that. And then what's crazy was he was talking about how that property was when he had first bought it. Guys, he had bought that property 9 months prior. That was a brand new house, a brand new property he had bought to get it ready for tenants to come in. They stopped paying after 6 months. It took him 3 months to get them out. But the amount of money he's got to now put in to bring that place back to life, to make it livable again and re-rent it. I mean, he's out of commission on that property for at least another solid 2 more months, 3 months. Money galore. So now he's out money. He's got to rent it and now use that rental income for maybe probably another 6 months to a year just to get back what he put in repairs. And sure, you might say, well, you could take the people to court. You could put it in their record. Let me tell you something. When you take people to court, it's a lawsuit, right? Let me tell you something though. A lawsuit is only valuable if the people have money to give. It's the truth. It's 100% the truth. It's the reason why there's people in today's world, grimy, lazy people, they love to sue companies. You know why they love to sue companies? Because companies have a thing called liability insurance. They're not really suing the person, they're suing the insurance company because they know the insurance company has pockets. Because if they knew that the person didn't have insurance, they're not going to sue. What's the point of suing these people? So what? It's in their record that they owe us money, but they have no money, right? So it doesn't help. Real estate has all that risk. And then you got to think to yourself, man, as I get older, let's say you get a good tenant. Like, I might have sold you a doomsday tenant, but let's say you get a good tenant. You rent to a lady or a husband and wife that they want to be there 10, 20 years. Like if you're in New York, a lot of people rent in New York. It's not common in New York for people to buy. It's very common in Florida. It's not very common in New York. And, you got to measure that based on where you live. But it's pretty common in New York. I mean, I know my ex-wife's aunt has been renting her house now for 20 some odd years. Like it's pretty much her home, even though she's renting it. I don't think it's a good investment, but it's a different mindset. You can get good tenants. However, houses always need maintenance. Houses always need maintenance. AC goes out, 10 years. Roof's got, stupid stuff too. It could be a leak of this or that. Like right now, I'm in a home and I'm renting it because I want to see what the neighborhood is like before I choose to buy it. And I can tell you right now, I've called maintenance up already a few times to fix a leak in a bathroom. The AC line had condensation and we were getting a leak in the roof that they had to rip, and they had to put a hole in the roof to see if it was, a leak from plumbing or a leak from condensation of the AC valve. Like there's maintenance. And I think to myself, man, what about people when they're in their 60s and 70s? Do they really want to be the person that has to be called in to fix the unit? You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to at that age. I don't know if you guys will. I don't want to at that age. I don't think your client does either. So, and why am I getting this descriptive? I'm getting this descriptive because sometimes you're going to come across people that say to you, hey, I've got this money and I'm trying to decide where to invest in and I'm thinking real estate. Tell them market risk, right? Landlord, tenant risk, maintenance risks, right? And those are the risks of getting into real estate. I'm not telling you not to do it, but our job is to tell people the pros and cons of it. That's the only investment outside of annuities that I can think of that provides lifetime income. There's a second. The second is business. Business. Having a business that's on autopilot that generates you residual income. For example, insurance industry is an amazing business to recruit people into if they've got 10 years left to retirement and they have nothing to retire. Because imagine if someone comes in and, they recruit 50 people, right? 30 of them get their insurance licenses, and those 30 are producing revenue that provides an override income to the main principal. Why do I say that? There's a lot of people nowadays that, they talk about, oh, I want to sell my business. Like there's agencies right now that love to promote the concept of selling their agency to a mergers and acquisition company, right? There's a lot of them, right? There's a company right now that's partnered with a pretty big merger and acquisition company. And one of their biggest pitches when they talk about recruiting is, if you get to this volume, this huge company will buy out your agency for several millions of dollars. And I think about that and I go, I don't know if I want to sell my business. If I build an insurance agency to the level, to the numbers that these guys require, my agency is generating, $1.5 million a year in income forever. As long as the agents are there, it'll keep going, I don't know if I want to sell that for a lump sum. So the investment company will give me $5 million up front, but I'm no longer going to get $1 million, $1.5 million for the rest of my life. That means that after 5 years, I no longer am making money on that investment. I don't see that. I see myself building an agency that's generating $1 million, $2 million of residual passive income, and then saying, okay, I'm going to retire and let the hierarchy heads run it. That's what I see. Maybe that's what you know what I mean? So I stand corrected. There's 3 vehicles in today's world that give you lifetime income: real estate, business ownership, and the third one is annuities. We talked about the risks of real estate. What's the risk of business ownership? You got to build the business. You got to invest into that business. You got to spend time in that business. You've got to distribute and duplicate yourself in that business. If you're needed in the business, you cannot retire. Like right now, TKO Financial Network as an entire FMO is not at a place where I can just kind of kick back and be like, all right, I'm chilling. You know what I mean? Yes, there's a lot of you guys producing and such, but we're not at that level where I can say, man, this agency is producing $1 million without me even being present. It's not. And because it's not, we got to stay there. So that's the risk of a business. Did you get into the right business? Do you have an expertise in that business? Is it a franchise? Because that's what some people will look at. Well, what if I get into a franchise, like a Subway franchise? Okay. Have you looked into the franchise fees? Have you looked into, are you going to be the store manager? Because we're talking retirement here, right? Is that business that's generating income that you're giving a percentage to the bigger company, the corporate Subway or the corporate, whatever that franchise is, do they require you to be on premises working? Because that's not retirement now. Right? And if you look at it, so then pros and cons to real estate, pros and cons to business ownership, we talk about it. So what do we have? We have an annuity. What's an annuity? An annuity is turnkey. Turnkey. So let's talk about the benefits of an annuity. Number 1, 0 fees. Are all annuities 0 fees? No, but we have annuities with 0 fees, so you can talk about it. When you're a finder, you're not honing in on one annuity, you're honing in on annuities in general. Are there annuities that offer 0 fees? Yes. Is real estate 0 fees? No. Is business ownership 0 fees? No. You got to invest into both of those. But an annuity is 0 fees. Number 1. Number 2, can annuity give you lump sum access to your profits? Yes. You have access to lump sum money? Yes. Can annuity give you lifetime income? Yes. So can a business give you lump sum money? Potentially, if it's making good money. Can real estate give you lump sum money? No. You got to sell the property to make lump sum. But if you got tenants, it can't do that. Can annuity give you lump sum? Yes, it can. You can take out a lump sum of money if you need to. Can annuity give you creditor protection? Yes. So you can't be sued, garnished, or levied against that. Right? Mr. Klein, if you happen to be driving to the gas station and you get into a car wreck and someone decides that they want to sue you, they're going to look at your assets, and that's one of the assets that they cannot tap into because it's creditor protected. It's probate protected. Right? For those of you who don't know what probate is this: if you pass away prematurely, right? Or even if it's not prematurely, if you pass away and it's expected, when you pass away, the court cannot seize money inside of an annuity. They can't freeze it up just because there's creditors that you still owe money to. They can't. I have that conversation with people all the time when it comes to life insurance. I tell them, I go, well, what do you want to pay off? I want to pay this, and this off. Okay, well, are these, this, and this things that are attached to assets that you want, or are there joint signers on it? No, it's not attached to any assets. It's just a credit card. No, there's not a joint signer. It's just my name. So do you know what happens if you pass away? That creditor has to eat up that bill. They can't attack anybody else for it, so you don't need insurance for it. Can they put their name? Can they put their name if your money gets sent into probate? Can they put their name in the cookie jar and say, hey, listen, he owes us money, so before you give the rest of that money in that jar to the family, we got to collect ours? Yes, they can. But if your money's in probate protected vehicles, they can't. It doesn't matter. Life insurance and annuities are probate protected vehicles. Life insurances and annuities are probate protected vehicles. Can you get the upside of the market, but none of the downside in an annuity? Yes. It's called an indexed annuity. You get the upside of the stock market. When the market goes up, I'm making. But if the market goes down, I'm not losing. I'm not losing anything. Can you put IRA money, 401k money in there, or money from underneath your pillow in there? Yes, you can. Can you put IRA money into real estate? Not without paying the taxes on it right away. Well, no, I'm lying. There's a thing called the self-directed IRA. You can. But can you put IRA money into a business? Not without paying the taxes on it. So if you're ready to write that tax bill right now, go for it. If not, no. But you can with an IRA. I'm sorry, you can with an annuity. You see what some of the benefits are? So when I'm out as a finder, right, I want to know these benefits. An annuity gives me lifetime income options. Lifetime for the rest of my life, no matter how long I live. Even if I use up all of the money that I put into it, I'm still going to continue to receive a paycheck. No market risk. No market risks. Zero fees. Access to lump sum money. You ready for this one? Death benefit protection. There's annuities that will give the client an increase in death benefit without medical underwriting. For example, right now there's an annuity through Allianz. Gives you a 25% bonus up front. So for somebody who struggles getting insurance, that wants insurance, but has lump sum money, what have I said to them? I go, listen, you put 100 grand in here, and we're going to give you $125,000 of death benefit immediately. Oh, and guess what? Your medical history has nothing to do with this. We don't have to draw blood. We don't got to call your medical doctors. None of that. This is not an insurance product, but we're going to give you a death benefit. That's a big benefit to an annuity. Can you use it? Some annuities, just so you know, have a long-term care rider on it, which let you use money with it, which means they'll give you money to pay for a nurse so that the nurse can take care of you. I did an annuity on a client who became sick, went on disability from his job because he had a brain tumor. It wasn't dangerous, but it could turn into something dangerous. And he had about $100,000 sitting in a 401k. And I said to him, I said, Mr. Klein, if you get to the point where when you're medically on bed rest, do you want your children to have to take care of you? He said, no, I don't. I don't want that. Okay. Do you want to go into a government facility if you don't have the assets? No, I don't. I don't want that. So you'd rather stay at home? Yes, I would. What if I could turn your 401k into something that gives you a long-term care benefit? It gives you a lump sum of money that you could use for a nurse. Twice the amount that it would give you if you just want to pension it out. We have that. So what do I mean by that? An annuity gives you a lump sum of money. But if it has a long-term care, what's called an income doubler, that's the term. It's called an income doubler. If it has that rider in there, whatever the lifetime income amount is that the annuity is willing to pay you, it doubles if you develop a long-term care need. That's pretty good. So for example, let's say the annuity has $250,000 in it, $250,000. And the lifetime income is 6%. 6% of 250,000 is $15,000 a year. But if you develop a long-term care need, it goes from 15,000 to 30,000, double the amount. That's a benefit that an annuity has. It's a benefit the annuity has. Right? So I've given you lists and lists of benefits. Now you know what to talk to people about. What if I could show you a vehicle that gives you lifetime income? So you never got to worry about outliving your money. Look at the language I'm using. What if I can give you a vehicle that gives you lifetime income so you never got to worry about outliving your money? Well, what do you mean by that? Meaning you'll always get a paycheck. You don't got to go back to work because you ran out of money. What if I can give you a vehicle that has the ability to earn money with the stock market, but none of the stock market risk? So if the market makes 10%, you're making money. If the market makes negative 10%, you're not losing anything. What if there's zero fees? You don't got to pay a single fee, no administrative fee, no broker fees, no management fees, none of it. What if you're creditor protected and probate protected so you can't be sued against this money either? What if you could take out lump sum income, take out big chunks of that money if you wish, without anybody giving you restrictions? What if that money could also come with a death benefit that you leave behind for your family? Mr. Client, do you have anything right now in your portfolio that gives you those benefits? You know what 90% of people tell you? Nope. I don't have a single thing that does that. Would any of these benefits make sense for you to add to your portfolio? Yes, it would. Okay. That's a rhetorical question. I mean, think about it. Who's going to say no to that? Who's going to say, no, I don't want any of those benefits? They're always going to say, yes, they want it. So now what you got to do is you got to find the money. So these are the questions you want to ask people when you're finding money. Mr. Client, do you happen to have any old 401ks from some old employers that you haven't moved over yet? Do you happen to have any kind of lump sum money put away underneath your pillow that you're trying to find the right investments to go into? Mr. Client, when you retire, does your current employer offer you a pension plan? And do you know if that pension plan can lump sum itself out instead of give you an income stream? Just so you guys know, some state programs, particularly Illinois, we just did one of these. Okay, they give you a pension. And when you retire, the employer gives you a choice. The choice is take the pension or take a lump sum of money. You know what I do when I meet those clients? I say to them, how much is the pension they're offering you? X number, whatever that number is. What if I can give you a bigger number than what they're giving you? Would you be interested? Yes. Well, what do you mean? Well, what if the employer is giving you $3,000 a month, but I give you $4,000 a month? Which number would you like more? I'd like the bigger number. Okay. Let's call your employer and find out how much is the lump sum, the bulk of money they would give you instead of taking the paycheck. Because what I'm then going to do is I'm going to take that bulk of money and I'm going to figure out which annuity is going to give a lifetime income greater than what the employer is giving. That's how I find money. Mr. Client, are you in the process of selling a home? Did you sell a home and receive profits for that home? I did. What are you doing with those dollars? That's one of the more recent annuities that we just did. Lady sold her home, made $100,000 in profits. She said to me, I have no need for the money. I got Social Security. I got my retirement account from my employer. I just want to invest it. Okay. Boom, put $100,000 in. Where'd that money come from? It came from real estate. So notice I've got annuities right now in the pipeline. One came from real estate. One came from a pension from an employer that was lump summed out. The third one that I have right now in the pipeline was inherited, right? The sister passes away, leaves behind $60,000 in an IRA that the beneficiary, which is the other sister, inherits. There it is, right? What's some of the language that I use? I said, Mr. Client, what if I could turn your paycheck into your play check? What if I could turn your paycheck into your play check? Right? Mr. Client, would you agree with me that the biggest asset you currently have is your income? Your paycheck is the most important thing that pays your bills and helps you survive and live. Yes, it does. Okay. Mr. Client, in the event that you're not able, Mr. Client, when you retire, how much peace of mind would you have if you continue to receive a paycheck for the rest of your life? Think about that. Look how I started the conversation. Mr. Klein, would you agree with me that your income, your paycheck right now is the most important asset that you have? It is. When you retire, would it be important to you if a paycheck can continue to come into your bank account for the rest of your life? Give you a lot of peace of mind, wouldn't it? Give you a lot of security, wouldn't it? Yes, it would. Okay, that's what I do. That's what I do. I show you how to turn your investments into a guaranteed stream of income for the rest of your life. So as a finder, guys, I'm very adamant about knowing the benefits of an annuity. Hopefully, I gave you enough of a list where you've got your top 3, 4 hot buttons. I'll tell you what mine are. Make money with the stock market, but don't lose any money with the stock market. Lifetime income, a paycheck that you'll never, ever outlive. Creditor protection, probate protection, so you can't be sued or garnished against that money. And the ability to take out lump sum money in the event that you need it. 0 fees. Look at those benefits. Who's going to say no to those benefits? Oh my God, those sound amazing. Okay. Now what you want to do is, because you don't want to just say the benefits and then schedule meetings, because I mean, look, if you're meeting with somebody who can't rub 2 pennies together, this annuity's worthless. It's got to be someone who has some type of lump sum money. Now you might say, so well, what's your definition of lump sum? When I was brand new, I mean, right now, even now, lump sum, 10,000 minimum. 10,000 minimum. You can't really do much with someone who's only got 3,000, 4,000. There's a lot of work that goes into annuities, and there's some annuities that require a minimum of 10,000. So don't spin your wheels on that. 10,000 or higher. Now you got to find the 10,000 or higher. So you got to say to yourself, where do people in middle America have $10,000 or more? Old 401ks, inheritance, property values of people's homes that they sold. Some of it is just cash inside underneath their piggy bank, underneath their pillow. You got to find lump sum. Then you got to say to yourself, okay, what are some of the life-changing events that cause people to have lump sums? Think about that. Okay, 1, divorces. I did a $500,000, I did a $500,000 rollover 2 years ago, 500,000, because the lady got divorced. Here's what's crazy. Her husband, her ex-husband, ran a very large state farm agency. But guess what? He had to divide up his assets. So $500,000 liquid was going to go into her bank account. For 29 years of her life, she never had to worry about working, paying bills, or nothing. He handled it all. And now all of a sudden, she's in her 60s, and she's like, holy crap, I got so much life ahead of me still, and I got to learn how to pay my bills by myself. Do you think that a woman like that is looking for lifetime income? Of course. She's looking for lifetime income. She's had that security for 30 years, somebody managing her money, which is her husband. Now she's got to figure it out on her own. So watch this. The court in the divorce gave her alimony. Her alimony was $13,000 a month for 10 years, plus this $500,000. So my language with her was this: what if I could turn this $500,000, right? What if I could turn this $500,000 in 10 years into a much bigger number than a $500,000 and a lifetime stream of income? You see, right now, what makes her feel good is knowing she's getting $13,000 a month into her bank account. That's her alimony for 10 years. But her worry is, oh my God, what happens after that 10-year period when that expires? What am I going to do when I don't have any monthly income coming in? What if I could turn your $500,000 into that income? So divorces, opportunities to find annuities. Businesses closing their doors. Go on Google. Research companies that are closing. If they have 401ks, that means that employees are being left now with that 401k, and that 401k needs to be moved out. When an employee leaves an employer, when they leave an employer, they have the ability to move their 401k over to an IRA without penalties or fees. what was it? There was an airline like 6-7 years ago that merged with another. Was it US One? I don't remember what it was. Oh my God, United, I don't remember what it was. But in a merger and acquisition, that's another opportunity to find annuities. When one company buys another company, right? Let's say this company, company A is buying company B. When he buys company B's benefit plan, 401k plan, typically for 30 to 90 days is open for employees to roll it out, move it out somewhere else if they want. Because what's happening is this investment company, the company that holds this person's 401k is going to acquire this one. That during that transition, the employers typically give the employees a 30 to 60 to 90 day period to move that money out if they want to an IRA. That's a huge one. So if you find merger and acquisitions, great opportunity. You find companies that are closing their doors, great opportunity. You find people that are relocating, that just moved. They left one employer to go work at another employer. Chances are there's a 401k that can get rolled over. People who lost their jobs, 401k that can get rolled over. People that sold a house, profits that can be invested. Divorces. Death benefits. I mean, look, right now, Caesar and I have a case open on a client whose husband passed away and left her behind with a large lump sum of money. She's trying to figure out what to do with that money. At the end of the day, you need to find someone that has access to a lump sum of money, and you need to talk about all of those benefits. When you find someone who has access to those money, you talk about those benefits, then the big question you want to ask them is, Mr. Client, do you have these benefits in place now? No, you don't. Would it make sense to talk to a specialist who works in that department at zero cost to you? Would it make sense to talk to someone who specializes in that department at zero cost to you? That's the language. That's the conversation you're going to have. If they say yes, schedule the meeting. You might not know which company, you might not know which annuity, you might not know which one, out of all the benefits you listed off, maybe one company that has 5 out of 6 of those. You don't know, but you found someone that has a large lump sum of money. You found someone that's interested in a list of those benefits, schedule the meeting. And then let a closer sit with you. And now what you need to do when you're sitting with a closer, guys, you need to take notes, learn. Something I admire right now about Caesar, after every one of our meetings, I ask him, what did you learn? And he always verbally gives me stuff that he's learned that he didn't learn from the first couple meetings we've had. He's always learning. Pretty soon, I guarantee you, Caesar will be doing these types of meetings completely by himself. Because he's learning, generating income. You gotta, again, know some of the benefits, 5 or 6 benefits. Then you got to know what kind of client you want to find. You find the client by finding the situation. Like if I wanted to go right now on a campaign for annuities, I can go on Google, put a list together of every business that's closing their doors, big companies that's closing their doors, because those big companies have 401ks. Then you know what I do is I go into LinkedIn, and I search up people who were employed by those employers, and I start sending messages. When Toys R Us closed their doors a couple of years ago, oh my God, I think I did like 7 rollovers from Toys R Us. You know how easy it is? Go to LinkedIn, type up Toys R Us, you see all the people that are employed by Toys R Us. Go to Facebook, type Toys R Us, you see all the people that put down Toys R Us as their employer. Send them a message. Now, 1% of the people are going to answer, but that 1%, you don't know, could be $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 rollover. Guys, I'll tell you right now, $100,000 rollover pays you guys on average $5,000 to $7,000 in commissions. One rollover. No chargeback worry, no medical underwriting worry. I mean, it's sick. Josh Collier in our organization this month is closing out with $11,600 in commissions to his bank account. And half of that is an annuity. a rollover. Yeah. So when I want to find annuities, when I want to find people, I have to find the situation. Like if any of you guys have access to a good friend of yours who's a divorce attorney, oh my God, money in the bank. That big case that I did, that $500,000 case, you know what it was? It was a family law attorney that referred me. She was the attorney of the lady who was getting $500,000. And she's like, I have no idea what to advise her to. I'm an attorney, but Tony, you know it. Come on in. Which, by the way, is a great recruiting idea. Go find yourself some family law attorneys and have them get their insurance licenses. That's what I did with her. I showed her what that annuity would pay her on a 50% split. You know what she did? She went and got her annuity. She got her license. She got her insurance. The attorney got her insurance license. Because now all she's got to do is she's just got to refer it over to me. I take care of the meeting and just put her on 50%. Done. Good. It's a great one. Estate planners, great attorneys to go talk to about getting their insurance license. Estate planners put together wills and trusts. Who do you typically assign? If someone with a will and a trust, what do you think they're going to do? They're going to get a life insurance policy to fund the trust. Or they're going to get an annuity. A trust fund baby, guys? You ever heard of that term, a trust fund baby? Someone that kind of grew up and they're always getting a stream of income. You know what is funding that trust? An annuity. So whenever I want to find annuities, I got to find the situation. People who got divorced, people who changed jobs, people who relocated, people who sold homes. Boom. Which is why realtors are a great referral source. Because realtors are always in front of people who are selling houses. I want you to understand something. Every time someone buys a house, someone has sold a house. Very few times nowadays is it someone bought a house from construction. Especially now with the freaking cost of freaking, you guys see in the news, the cost of lumber, the cost of everything going up the way it is. I guarantee you right now there's a higher demand on buying existing homes than there is new construction. When someone buys a house, that means someone sold a house. And when someone sold a house, there might be lump sum money that they just received. So realtors are great people to talk to in that world. Family law attorneys are, because realtors are always in front of sellers and buyers. Family law attorneys are always in front of people getting divorces. It's the truth. Google will always get you in front of people that are closing, people are always get in front of people that are losing their jobs. That's another opportunity. It's a huge one, guys. Look up merger and acquisitions as well. Don't look up just companies that are closing their doors. Look up merger and acquisitions. Companies that are merging. I guarantee you, this company who's buying this company, these people right here have a chance to move their 401ks over. They do. The other list is a list of people who are about to retire. Look, for my Florida guys, it takes a little bit of work what I'm about to give you, but I'm even sure that even Illinois has this as well. California has this. Wherever you are, they have this as well. Nevada, they have this as well. I guarantee you they do. Guarantee you they do. The state has a public list of all of their state employees that are participating in their pension plan because we pay the taxes for it. So state of Florida has a program called the FRS program, the Florida Retirement Services Program. You can contact the state for $2. For $2, they will email you an Excel file of every single person that's participating in that pension. You know what that email file has? The name, the address, the amount of money in their pension, and when their expected retirement date is. What? Their name, their address, the amount of money they have in their pension, their expected retirement date. Doesn't have their phone number, and it does not include high-risk state employees like police officers that could be, they're at high risk, so they keep them, undisclosed. But state workers, teachers, professors at the state level, sometimes people have been, they work 20, 30 years in the state, they got a few $100,000 in there. Now, what you got to do is get a hold of that list and then rally a campaign around getting in front of them. And Excel, it comes to you in an Excel file. Do you know how many filters you can create with Excel? You know how many filters you can create with an Excel and be like, okay, show me all the people in this county. That's your county. Go do drop-bys. Go knock on their doors. And yeah, they're gonna say, well, where the hell did you get my information? How do you know I have a pension plan? So yes, you're not gonna be that uncomfortable person knocking on the, hey, listen, Mrs. Jones, I know you've got $50,000 sitting in your 401k because you've been an employee for 20 years. I got it from the state website. No, you're not that person. But you put together a nice little, packet, nice little flyer with a couple of the insurance carriers that you represent, some of the benefits that I just listed off, your contact information, and drop it off to them. Hi, how are you? Nice to meet you. My name is Edgar. I'm your local financial representative. Just dropping this off, letting you know if you know anybody that's expecting to retire in the next 2 to 3 years, these are some of the services that we offer. Oh my God, I am. Oh, really? I had no idea. Yeah, we did. We knew. We knew. We got a list. We know you about to retire. They don't know where we got that list from. But you're dropping off, and you're seeing. Think about that. Whenever I want to look for something, I find someone that is always around that something. For example, last year, I wanted to get my kids a dog, right? I wanted to get my kids a boxer. What did I do? I joined Facebook groups of people with boxers. And I started asking around, hey, can you guys know a breeder? I'm in Florida. I'm looking for breeders. I didn't go on regular Facebook. I didn't go to my pharmacy. I didn't go to the supermarket and ask random people. I didn't go to my mechanic or the gas station, ask for people. You know anybody who's selling boxers? No. I went to a place where I know there's a lot of boxers. Maybe not everybody on that group are breeders, but don't you think those people know a breeder?
Somebody.
Then you find it. That's how you find it. So if you want to find people who got divorces, what do? You find attorneys that work in the divorce field. Simple. You want to find people who sold houses, what do? You find realtors and mortgage loan officers because they're always around people selling houses. Simple. You want to find people that are changing jobs? Look up businesses that are closing and then go find those people. Simple. I find the source. And through the source, I promote what I know I have a high probability of discussing. For example, I'll give you another example, then we'll take a break. Home health aides. Think about home health aides. What do they provide? They provide home health services. That's a long-term care need. If I want to sell living benefits, you know what I might do? I might find a couple people who work in the home health aid business, because that person is around someone who needs home health services, and that person probably has family members that are watching that person need the services deteriorate. So it's not that I'm after the person who already needs the services, because insurance is preemptive. I can't sell the person who already needs the service, but the person who already needs the service has a daughter or a son or a spouse that's there every day taking care of them. And it might be important to them to say, hey, let me get something in place for myself. I hate to say it, but it's the truth. Like when someone passes away in a family, I say it because it's important. And yes, some people might look at it like, oh, you're an opportunist, but it's the truth. When someone passes away in a family, at some point or another, you need to talk to the people who saw that person pass away and make sure they have their insurances in order. Now, yes, it's a very delicate time. You got to find the right time to do it. But yes, it's important. It's important because sometimes people won't react until they firsthand see someone go through it. That's why one of the reasons when I sell life insurance, I ask people, say, hey, have you ever seen a situation where someone passed away and had insurance or didn't have insurance? Yes, I did. Tell me about that story. I want to bring them back to that world. Oh no, my aunt, she passed away, and my uncle, they didn't have insurance in place, so my uncle struggled and suffered, and it was really tough. Or vice versa. No, she did have insurance, so the family financially was in a much better place. And then I asked him, what do you think would have happened if that person didn't have insurance? Oh my God, no, I don't know what would have happened to my cousins, to this, to that, to the house. I bring them back to that space so that they can realize it's important for them to get covered too. It's the same thing. If I want to find annuities, I got to find people who have lump sum. If I know people who have lump sum, I have to find people that are around those people constantly. Divorces, family loan. Real estate, realtors, mortgage brokers, title companies. 401k rollovers, look up companies that are closing their doors. State employees, pull up a list of all the state employees because you should have a list of when they're planning to retire with an address. So now I'm giving you the list, giving you access to finding the people. Your job now is to become a mayor of your community and build those relationships. So think about it off the top of your head, guys, those of you that are on right now. How many of you guys know realtors? How many of you guys know attorneys? Maybe you don't know a divorce attorney, but you know an attorney who knows a couple of divorce attorneys. Again, you kind of family tree your way through. I'm not even gonna lie, home health is good if you're working in an affluent market. If you're working in a wealthy market, it's good to get a hold of some home health aides. Because what might be happening is someone is paying for the home health services out of their own money from their wallet, not realizing that if they put that money into an annuity and then they take the lifetime income from the annuity, they could get more money out that way to pay for that home health service. So build a relationship with those sources and then have those sources refer you in. Look at your own natural market and say to yourself, okay, wait a minute, who do I know that just got divorced? Who do I know that just relocated? Who do I know that just got laid off? Last year, 63 million people were laid off. 40% of them have 401ks. It's a great opportunity to look into rollovers. It's crazy what's going on there. Those are your opportunities. So now that we discussed the benefits of an annuity, right? Now that we discuss how to find people that might have lump sum, because that's your number one requirement with an annuity, just so you guys know. They have to have lump sum money. If they don't have lump sum money, you're not talking annuity. Simple. It's 100%. That's what it is. So now that you know what the benefits are, now you know how to find people with lump sum money. Now all you got to do is what? Put the work in. You don't got to know which company. You don't got to know what the product does, what's the in and out. You don't got to know any of that stuff yet. I'm not saying that you don't need to eventually. You will eventually. But you cannot put the cart in front of the horse. You can't. The first thing you got to do is find someone who has lump sum. Then you got to talk about some of the benefits to poke the curiosity, then schedule a meeting. The meeting is where the sale is done. And in the meeting, I promise you, there's always going to be someone there. There's always going to be a closer, a specialist there ready to go and take meetings for you. Ask Caesar how many meetings have I done for you late at night?
Say that again.
How many meetings have I done for you late at night? Like late into the evening night because the daytime was busy and the person wasn't available.
At least like 7.
Right? Listen, he made some solid changes this week. He made a few common checks there this coming week because of that. He's got another big one coming. I promise you, if I'm not available, somebody else will. We just brought on board Carlos Colon, guys. I don't know if you guys are excited about this or not. Carlos, so you know, does anywhere from 3 to 6 million a year in annuity business on his personal pen. He's on a trip right now, but the moment that man gets availability, I'm going to have him do a training with you guys on what's his annuity presentation. I want to know. Full disclosure, I've never done 3 to 6 million. I've done about $1.5 million on my personal pen, but 3 to 6 million? There's some, I want to know. By the way, he's in Orlando. So for those of you people with teams in Orlando, agents in Orlando, even hell, Irvin, you're in Lehigh, bro. You're 2 hours away from Orlando? I guarantee you tell that man you got $100,000 to $200,000 rollover, you'll have no problem driving down there for that meeting. He won't. That's what I want you guys to be able to do. Don't worry about the company just yet. Worry about getting into the meeting. Worry about finding the business. Finders always make money. It's 9:30 right now. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a 20-minute break. And then the second half of the session, I'm going to train on social media. Because right now, no lie, if I look at my personal business, it's genuinely coming from annuity and my efforts inside of social media. And you're not expecting for me to tell you how I find my business on social media, but stay tuned for that piece. It's 9:30 right now. Let's connect back at 9:50 Eastern time. So it's actually 9:31 right now. So 19 minutes. right? So for those of you central, it's 8:31, so 8:50, right? Nevada, it's 5:31 for you right now, so 5:50, we'll get back, okay? Don't get off the call. I'm just gonna mute it for Bean and we'll get right back at it, okay?
Tony.
All right. All right, we're back. Okay, let me hear some feedback from everybody. What was your biggest takeaways from this morning's session? Our session that we just did on annuities. Anything you guys learned? Any questions you guys have before we move on to the next?
Hey, Tony, this is Tanisha. How are you?
Yes,
Can you hear
ma'am.
me?
Yep, I can hear
Okay.
you.
I just gotta say, like, this has been phenomenal so far.
Oh, we're losing you a little bit. You're going in and out. I think it's because you're moving. All right, we'll see. We'll see if we can get back to her. Anybody have any comments, any questions, clarities that they need?
I like your marketing strategies, how to find clients through attorneys. I work with a lot of attorneys. I work for foreclosure attorneys.
Okay.
And I guess I really do need a pitch, something to get them interested in coming on board, or at least referring, their clients.
Okay.
Um,
Ask them what they're currently doing now. Like ask them, hey, what are you doing with your clients that have lump sum money that need to be reinvested? You send them somewhere, see what they tell you. A lot of times they just refer it to somebody. When they do, ask them if they get anything in exchange for that referral. If they say no, tell them, hey, we have a program where you can actually get paid for it. I mean, I'd love to sit down and chat with you about it.
okay.
Okay.
But they would have to come on board and get licensed if they want to get paid, correct?
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. You can gift them. You have the ability to gift them. You can't gift them cash, right? But you can gift them, tickets to a game. You can gift them, a gift certificate to Amazon. You can take them out to dinner. You can do stuff like that. But if they want cash, then yeah, they need to get their license.
Okay.
Okay. So Tanisha, I think you're back now. We lost you a little bit there. Go for it.
I'm trying to get on my computer, so I'll try to do it then. But the gist of it is everything you said has been gold for me.
Good.
Every single word that you have said, because it aligns with things that I'm trying to do now. You've helped to clarify who the target is, because for me, that's huge. Just even knowing, for the different products, first, outlining the benefits. I know things that you said, things are triggered in my mind from my training, from, being licensed, but everything is not clear in my mind just off the cuff. So the way that you've outlined it today, as far as, some of those key benefits, to kind of put out there to people, that was super valuable. Exceptionally valuable was finding those people, like, how do you even know who's the, you can know who the best person is, or once you figure it out, but like, how do you find them? And, so some of those resources, things that I think of, I'm not quite sure, but you help to affirm that, okay, my mind is on the right track as far as, tracking down these possibilities, but then you extend it and say, okay, well, yeah, these are possibilities, the probate attorneys and all this kind of stuff, but then, or you throw something else in there about like the Google research, and then how you take that and go to the next step. So everything to this point has been, exceptional. There's not one thing, everything has built on it, and I just appreciate it. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Appreciate that. Something that came to mind, and I'll talk about it a little bit as well too with social media here in a minute, is creating groups, guys. Create focus groups on topics on social media. Every time I research something, every time I want to know something, I always join a couple groups inside of social media. When we got credit repair up and going, I joined 3 groups on credit repair, and I just started asking people. I got into forums and asked questions and learned. So that tells me people probably do the same thing that I do. So don't be afraid to create a group of your own Call it whatever you want. Call it, lifetime income planners. Call it 401k rollovers. Call it whatever. I guarantee you, there's going to be people that will join your group because they want to know about that topic. And if you give education, people will come back and reciprocate what they want. They will come back. I promise you. So, anybody else have any questions or any input they want to say before moving to the next piece? Good. Okay. All right. So let's talk social media. Here's what we're going to do. It's 10 o'clock my time. We're going to go on for another hour. Okay. This is going to be the shortest closers college yet. I think this is also going to be the turning point for closers college, where we're going to see an enormous jump in the leap. Because no lie, it really is, in my opinion, that valuable. I learned so much in my closers college when I first got started. But anyhow, let's talk about social media. Social media is the watering hole that you need to be constantly pouring out value. Okay, the way I look at social media is, if you think about a BOM, right, a business opportunity meeting that ran twice a week, it's always the same presentation. The presentation doesn't change. What changes is the guest who's watching it. Social media is the same, except you're the presenter. And what you present to social media, your social media will respond to. Now, I'm going to talk about what I do with social media, but then I'm also going to talk about some of the behind the scenes that I do with social media, some of the things that I always do to keep my social media, to keep the social media active and producing results. Okay. When I look at social media, and again, I say to myself, okay, I'm the presenter. What do I want my audience to be seeing? What do I want them hearing about me? A couple things. I want them to.
Yours is the biggest lunar.
Hang on.
Yeah.
There we go. Okay. I want my social media to be receiving data on entrepreneurship. I want my social media to be receiving data on growth in an agency. I want my social media to be receiving financial knowledge on insurances, retirements. That's my branding. That's my branding. People reach out to me because they want to know how to scale their business up. They reach out to me because they want to know how to better manage their money, what to do with their money, what to do with their insurances. And therefore, that is my branding. My social media is my business tool. Even when I post about my family, that's a business tool. If you guys noticed, like last week, my kids did a lemonade stand. I posted a picture about it. You don't know what your lifestyle does to the people watching. Sometimes the very lifestyle you live is the lifestyles of people that are watching you want. That's what they want, and they can't have it. So it could be something stupid, something small, something minuscule as, coaching my kids' basketball team, on Wednesdays, or taking my daughter to her ballet. Some people can't. Some people are in a place in their life where they have to work 2 jobs to support themselves. And as a result, they can't be there for those types of things, right? Some people want to purchase, a purebred dog. Some people want to take trips over here. Some people want to go to dinner at this location. Some people want to do some of the things that you guys do, they want to do. It's a luxury to them. So when I'm constantly advertising on social media is the freedom that entrepreneurship gives me, is the luxuries that entrepreneurship gives me, is the benefit that I have of being an active father for my children, is the educational side of this industry, and it's the growth of the agency. That's what I'm always talking about. Always talking about. Now, what's something that I'm also always doing? I'm always adding new friends to my group. Okay? If you feel weird, if you feel uncomfortable having people you don't know on your social media, then don't use my techniques. Social media is a tool. It's not, some people use social media for their personal use, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't. My social media is a business tool. Therefore, my audience needs to be people that I've never met with or agents that I'm currently working with. Why my agents that I'm working with? Because I need them to see what I'm doing so they can learn from me. Why the people that I've never met with? Because that's my next clientele. Why? I mean, like, yeah, I have family in there, but I'm not gonna lie. When my social media gets maxed out, like Facebook allows me 5,000 people. Once I get to that number, I'll take an hour and I'll start deleting people. My own family members, people that I know that they ain't gonna do business with me. They're not gonna refer me to anybody. They've been watching it for years. What are you on there for now? You're not there for nothing. You're there for gossip. I don't need you there for gossip. I need you there to either refer me business or be wanting to do business with me. That's number one. I'm always adding people. You might say, okay, well, Tony, who are you adding? You want to know the people that I'm always adding? The people that I do interviews with, the people that I meet with. My prospects, my leads that I meet with, my interviews that I host, people that I meet around town, right? If I have a good encounter with somebody, hey, are you like my social media is my business card. When people say, oh, you got a business card? You know what I say? No, man, I forgot it. But you know what? Are you on Instagram? Are you on Facebook? Listen, let's connect. You know why? Because I'm always in their face now. I'm always posting. I'm always going to be in their face. Always going to be in their face. Always going to be in their face. So I'm always adding new people. I'm always adding the people that I come across with. Always. And number three, I'm always posting content. I'm always posting content. Guys, having a social media requires you to actually post, not once a day. You got to post 4, 5, 6 times a day. It doesn't have to be big things. Sometimes I'm posting a screenshot of a conversation that I had with an agent, or a conversation I had with a client, or, the results of the day, or something that I did with my kids, or a motivational, post of some sort. Like, we have an agent on our team, Vicente. If you guys are following Vicente, he's a realtor out in Orlando. Man, that is amazing, is what it is. That is 100% amazing to follow him, because he's always posting motivational stuff. You know how much stuff I take from him? It's just screenshot and copy paste, screenshot and copy paste. Good stuff. Motivational quotes, posts. I'm always, because I'm trying to attract 2 people. I'm trying to attract the potential clients, but more importantly, I'm trying to attract the potential business partners. So here's the mistake that a lot of people make on social media. They try to attract clients. I don't do much with clients. I educate on the industry. I sometimes will post something small that I learned about 401ks, or something small that I learned about IRAs. Like today, I'll probably post a couple of things that I talked about today this morning, just a couple quick boom boom. Enough that it wets the lips, but not enough that it feeds them. Enough that they're like, man, there's value there. I want to know more. I'm just dropping little seeds. Boom. But I focus more of my attention on the recruiting side than I do on the sales side. 100%. I mean, if you said to me, what's the percentage? 95% is recruiting side, 5% is sales side. And the sales side is really more to educate the existing agents that are there, because in educating the existing agents that are there, aka you guys, it helps increase the retention of the recruiting. That's what it is. But it also helps recruit people that are in companies like Primerica. It also helps to recruit people that are in companies like World Financial Group, people that are independent. So when you ask, who do I friend request? I friend request people that I come across. I friend request people from the industry. I friend request people from companies that I know are closing down. Think about that. Why am I friend requesting people that I know work at companies that are closing? It's a 401k opportunity. It's an employment opportunity. Why am I friend requesting people from Primerica and WFG and the independent insurance agencies? Because they might not be happy where they're at, and you might need to hear something that from a different angle that a different leader can give. Why do I make sure my agents are on my social media? Because I want you guys to mimic the things that I'm doing. I want to be able to see the things that you're doing. I know about you guys sometimes more stuff just through your social media. I'm sure you know more about me because of the same thing. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure you do. Rubiel, I see his posts. I mean, Lulu, I see your posts. Right? Edgar, I see your stuff. You know what I mean? I know what's going on in your lives. Social media is a window to your life. So, what are people watching about your life? What are they watching about your life? Right? It's not, we work in finances. So, yes, there's a little bit of advertisement of glamour, right? Because people think finance is financial freedom, money. There is a little bit of that. But what I'm promoting is a life that some people want to have. And guys, I'm not a millionaire. I'm not. But I wake up every day and I try to be, I'm human, so we all make mistakes, but I try to be grateful for what I do have. I'm grateful at the fact that I'm able to run a business from my home. I'm grateful at the fact that I work in an industry that allows me to cross state lines. Guys, I'm looking right now on the training, and there is literally one person on from the state of Florida. Everybody else is from a different state. I'm grateful that I have that opportunity. I'm grateful that I've been in this industry long enough now that I can run business virtually. We have a little over 200 agents licensed. I'm not even counting the non-licensed. And here's what's crazy. Every week we're growing in the amount of paychecks that I'm paying out. Every week, I'm seeing new agents writing business that haven't written business before. I'm grateful for that. And so I promote that. I talk about that. God could have said, Tony, you're going to be a mechanic. Who knows? If you would have done that, I might be struggling right now because guess what? This is a face-to-face business and COVID. Mechanic work requires you to be face-to-face. So mechanic work is going to be tough. Mechanic work has a lot of overhead. I have to have a garage to work at it. I have to have the equipment. I have to have a car lift. I have to have all that stuff. I'm grateful that I work in a business where all I need is an insurance license, a cell phone, and a computer, which is something that 90% of America has. It's crazy, but it's the truth. Like, Sandra was talking to me a couple of days ago, how she wants her 19-year-old son to get involved in a business, right? And she's kind of going through that and processing it with me. And I say to her, I go, here's the problems with businesses. They're high cost, the upfront cost. But she started, I'll tell you one thing that we were thinking about kind of venturing into as like a little project, okay? As like a little project. We went to a birthday a couple weeks ago, and it was in Miami. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but there's these new trailers. They're video game trailers. Somebody pulls up with a truck, and behind the truck is this huge trailer, and the trailer's decked out like a game room. Flat screen TVs inside, leather couches inside, neon lighting inside. It's like a kid's freaking heaven. Outside TVs with a little tent that pops up. So it's like you're bringing the arcade to the house of a birthday party. And we went to somebody's birthday, and that's what was there. And I was like, man, that's a freaking genius idea. The amount of gaming that there is nowadays. And then we went back home. Now, this was in Miami that we saw this, but I'm back home for me is Naples, Florida, which is an hour and a half west. None of that exists over here. So my mind starts going like, man, how much would it cost to get one of those trailers up and going? And then I start thinking, who would I put on? How like if I fronted the cost and I created the social media behind it, and then I partnered with two people and let them run it for a percentage of the business, could it generate income? And we're doing it. I'm like, I could do it. And I know that I could. And it'd be like a little, to me, that's a little project. I like that kind of stuff. It's like a, weekend warrior type thing. I like it. So she starts thinking about that. And I say to her, here's the problem with that type of business. There's a lot of overhead. You need money in the beginning to be able to do that. And the last thing I would want to do is to talk to your son about that, but he doesn't have a passion for it. Because now it's money wasted. If we front up the money, I told her, I said, if we front the money and we build it, is he going to want to work it? Because if he doesn't work, he's not going to make any money. And if he doesn't work it, we just blew a bunch of money. I said, so you got to be very careful what business you want to get him into. I recommend getting him into business that doesn't have a lot of upfront costs. And I'm grateful for the fact that this industry doesn't have a lot of upfront costs. Now, granted, it doesn't have an interest in this. So it's kind of hard. It's like, okay, well, not a lot of cost, but it doesn't have an interest. So it's like, what does he want to do? Anyways, here's my point. Here's my point. Your life, your luxuries, people want. And there's people on social media that want to be you. And you might say to yourself, who would want to be me? I don't have anything. I'm not making millions. You have no idea how many blessings you have that other people wish that they had. Sometimes it's just a night out to go eat. You know how many, I remember growing up as a kid, my dad would eat eggs and rice with onion, or he would eat tuna with rice and onion. Anybody ever had that? Anybody? Anybody? Okay. They call that poor people food in Puerto Rico. That's like, it's comida pobre, right? And I kind of chuckled about it as a kid, but now as an adult, I started to realize my parents didn't have a pot to piss in. My parents didn't have anything. I remember as a kid eating a steak, but then my dad next to me eating eggs and tuna and rice. And I'm thinking that's just his favorite meal, which don't get me wrong, every now and again, even I crave it. But the reason he did is because we didn't have the money to get anything else. So going out to eat as a kid was like a once a year type thing. It was like a Mother's Day. Going out to eat was like this, oh my God, we're gonna go out to eat. Because if not, we're eating at home. We ain't got the money to go out. And now I live in a life where I feel sometimes we go out to eat more than we eat in house. And we take it for granted. And I have to remind myself, there's still people in today's world that going out to eat something is a luxury. So we have to be grateful. And that's what I promote on my social media. I promote the success of the industry. I promote the success of the agency. I promote the growth of the team. But I also promote the luxuries that we sometimes take for granted. Like, look, I bought an F-150 truck. Nothing crazy, right? An F-150 truck, quad cab, right? I'm gonna look to do some things to it. Could I have gone better? I could have got an F-250 super loaded, super truck. I could have, right? But then I got a regular one. And I remembered when I got it, Sandra says to me, oh my God, my dad would utterly love that car. And I didn't get it. I was like, what do you mean? He always wanted to have a truck like that. And instead, he always had the littler ones. And I think to myself, I got to be grateful for the fact that I was able to do something like that. My 19-year-old is driving my old car. I'm still making payments on my old car, but yet I get into a truck. Why? Because this industry allows me the opportunity and the ability to do that. Yet, my first car was at a buy here, pay here. I had to buy it. I had to save the money for it. I had to put the down payment on it. I had to. Why? Because we didn't have any of that. But entrepreneurship gave me the ability to say, excuse my French, crap, right? We just moved out of Miami into another town. He's going to be driving back and forth to Miami. He needs a car. It never worked, right? He didn't live the life that I lived, right? And I'm able to say, hey, I'm going to go get a truck and here's a car. Here you go. It's not a brand new car, but it's a nice car. It's a Chrysler 300. White, black rims, tints, right? Everything works in it. Everything's, no problem. Free, here you go. But I'm making the car payments because entrepreneurship gives me that. I have to be grateful to that, to have the ability to do something like that. I promote that on social media. And believe it or not, people are watching. It's one of the greatest things that social media did? It created stories. Because you don't know who watches your timeline unless they hit that like button or they comment, but you know who watches your stories. And sometimes I guarantee you there's people watching your stories that they wish that you didn't know they were watching their stories, but they watch it. And it's like chipping away at the iceberg. Chipping away at the iceberg. I'll give you an example. Josh Collier in Tennessee. Josh Collier has been following me on social media for 3 years now, even before TKO Financial Network came about. And I was trying to get this man into interviews with me for the longest. He came from Wealth Financial Group. And at the time I was at Practice Company, and I was trying to bring him into PH Group. And he was no. But I can show you screenshots of this man, black and white, telling me, I will never leave Wealth Financial Group. I'm happy where I'm at. And he was selling me this fake dream of what he had that he didn't have. And it was just a matter of timing. We kept a very good relationship. I didn't get mad when he would say no to me. Hey man, no problem. He sometimes would reach out to me for advice. And I'd give him advice on how to build his agency. And he wasn't even a part of my company, he was not on my agency, my hierarchy. He wasn't. And then you know what happened? January of this year, February of this year, he hits me up. Tony, I'm fed up with this. I'm sick and tired of this. Blah, 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 blah. What do you got going on? Comes on board. 11,000 in cash flow this month. Social media did that. Social media did that. There's another kid that I brought on board. He was in Ocala. All I'm doing is promoting what it is to be a dad that can take his kids out here, go out to lunches here with them, pick them up from here, do this. Like summertime right now is coming. And my ex-wife and I are debating right now what we're going to do for my kids' summer camp. And you know what we're going to do? We're only going to put my kids in summer camp 2-3 days a week. The other 2-3 days, they're going to come here to my house, even if it's not my week. Even on the weeks that they're supposed to be with their mom, they're going to come here to my house during the daytime, 9 to 5, because there's enough things in my house that they can do. They don't need to be in summer camp 5 days a week. And I'm grateful to be able to do that. And she'll pick them up from my house and take them home, and that's fine. Save a little bit of money, not having to spend a freaking fortune, which is what summer camp is trying to charge this year for my kids. But anyhow, I promote it, and I recruit this guy in Ocala. He says to me, he says, Tony, I'm married, my relationship's in the rocks, I got 2 kids. What are you doing, man? So I recruit him, I bring him on board. Unfortunately, he doesn't do much in the business. He gets distracted. But he refers me to one person. He refers me to an agent that used to work in the hospital in Fort Myers. An agent that has his insurance license that wasn't doing much with that license. And this person comes on board. And this person shows up to train, shows up to virtual meetings, shows up to events. This person does it. You know? This person has a market in South Carolina. In South Carolina, he's got some relatives that own some businesses that want to put some money away. And guess what? Write up a couple of businesses. We do a pretty big one, a pretty nice one, 24,000. I think this person knows exactly what I'm talking about right now. Because he's on the training right now. It's Urban Burgers. We're up at 24,000 annual premium IUL. And I believe he's up there now and he wrote up some more businesses he's about to turn in. Now, how did I meet Urban? I met Urban through Victor. How did I meet Victor? I met Victor through social media. Wow, it's crazy. Social media does it. Social media does it, right? I could probably link every single one of you guys up to social media. Almost every single one of you guys up to social media. Because social media gives you access to people's lives. So if people are watching you, what are you promoting? What are you talking about? Remove the politics. Please try to remove the politics. Right? Remove religious views. Remove it. Create an environment that, you know, the Christian, the Catholic, the atheist can still work at with you. Create an environment where the Democrat and the Republican still work with you. Sure, sometimes I post my viewpoints on certain things, but I try to keep myself as neutral as possible. The one thing I'm passionate about is capitalism and entrepreneurship. The one thing I'm passionate about is educating this industry, educating insurance agents on how to become better insurance agents. So I post that stuff. Don't be afraid for you to take some of the stuff that you're learning from me and post it. Post a couple educational things. Like we just did a session on annuities, how to find it. Go post a couple things. Make sure you're friend requesting people from the industry. They don't know how long you've been in the industry. They don't know if that content came from you or it came from me or it came from somebody. You guys don't know if it came from me or if I just gave you something that I learned, which by the way I did. I just copycatted someone who taught me. They don't know. But you friend request enough of these guys from World Financial Group of Transamerica and independent agents and, you know, Primerica or whatever, you catch them on a bad day where they've been dying to learn about something and their upline's not teaching them. They just lost a big case because they didn't do it the right way. And you happen to coincidentally post about that topic in a way where they're like, man, I didn't even know that. I promise you they're going to send you a message. I promise you they're going to send you a message. You promote the life you have, even if I people that are very grateful to want to do something like that. Sometimes it's just time for you. It's not even luxury. It's just time for you. Time for you. Single dads that want to spend more time with their kids. They love seeing the amount of time I spend with my kids. What do I pay a tribute to? I pay tribute to the industry. And then from there, when you're recruiting, you get an opportunity to what? Does that person have a natural market that they need to be trained in? Let's split the business 50-50, now train you. Now you're talking to hot leads, mom, dad, brother, sister, aunt, uncle, right? That person doesn't have a warm market. Okay, well, do they have the finances to buy some leads? They do, great. They buy some leads, we'll call those leads together, and we'll schedule meetings together, and we'll work those businesses together. You know, it's not a coincidence that 90% of my portfolio comes from a warm market that was first recruited into that market. It's not a coincidence. It's not. What's my biggest income generator? Recruiting. And guess what? Do we charge anything for people to come on board and work with us? No, I'm not making money from that. I'm not. Right, we got 200 some odd people. I've only got maybe 30 some odd people on Jarvis. Jarvis, you know, doesn't pay me anything. It covers the cost of running the platform. Because believe it or not, voicemail drips, text message drips, having a voice over P phone number, having all that stuff, 12 weeks of a campaign, that's costly. Right now, we're running really close to the line of it not paying for itself, and me having to come up with some dollars of my own, which I don't mind doing. So then, Tony, why are you making that statement that recruiting brings so much income? Recruiting brings me into markets, and it puts me in front of people who want what I have in my brain. They want the intellectual property that I have. And I'm very willing to give it. I'm very willing to give my intellectual property. That's why I'm on this training right now, teaching you guys. I'm very willing to give it because I know that if I give it to you and you guys go right business, the companies that pay you pay the agency. It's the same way you should be thinking about your downline. Give them as much as you need to give them so that they can go out and write business. And if they can't write it by themselves, go with them and you split the business 50-50. Intellectual property. I respect that. The people who taught me took me out to the field and I respected their time and split commissions with them. But they gave me something I never give back. I gave them a commission. Here's your commission for the time you gave me. That money has long been spent. But you know what they gave me 10 years ago, 15 years ago? They gave me the knowledge to still be in business today. They gave me the knowledge to one day get an opportunity to build an FMO. They gave me the knowledge to train guys like you. They gave me more than I could have ever given them on a commission. It's no, it's the truth. So when I'm promoting on social media, that's what I promote. I promote growth. I promote positivity. I promote the education of entrepreneurship, the education of the financial services industry. Sometimes I'll post a couple, bullet points. Like today, I'll probably post a couple bullet points. Hey, when looking for annuities, look for people who, are always in front of people who have lump sum money. Realtors are always in front of people who sold houses. Family attorneys are always in front of people who just got divorced and have to split assets. Right? I'll post something like that. And I'm just throwing it out there because I know there's a crap ton of WFG Transamerica independent agents that are there just watching. And all you're doing is catching them on the right day. That's it. Take my kid, my son, my daughter, I did a lemonade stand with him. Who saw that picture on social media? The lemonade stand. I got a message from one of my buddies. He says to me this, he says, man, I'm proud of everything that you've done. And I'm envious of everything you've done. He said, my kid's been hounding me down about a lemonade stand, but we haven't been able to do it because we live in an apartment and not a home, not a community. Right? Now, I don't do it to throw the jabs. I do it to say, bro, let's get to work and get you that. Let's get you out of the apartment. Let's get you into a home. Let's get you into it. Social media is your window. It's your BOM. It's your business opportunity meeting that's running. As long as you log in and post, it's running. It's running. It's running. Take a trip somewhere, post your trip. Go do this, post it. Guys, social media is 95% of my revenue. Indirectly, it's 95% of my revenue. Juan Graziani just turned in 4,200 annual premium from the VP bar. Juan Graziani was recruited by Puebli. Puebli and I have known each other for 5 years. But yet Puebli and I never had an actual relationship as a business partnership until January when we started working together. We knew about each other through social media. I knew who she was, she knew who I was. Right? I found out she was parting ways with the company. Right? She found out I was parting ways with the company. We were on totally different spectrums of what we wanted to do. But social media allowed us to go, hey, wait a minute, what are you up to? Let's right? And from that came, I mean, think about it. How many of you guys are part of Puebli's organization? You know what I mean? Like, none of y'all would be here if it wasn't for that. Social media. Right? It's kind of cool. Lulu, correct, Lulu. Lulu's husband, I recruited Lulu's husband 4 years ago to practice company. Not even knowing who Lulu was. You know how I found him? Social media. Social media. And then look at the crazy, circle of life. Like the wheels kind of go back around because I transferred him to someone over there that can work with him. And now look, he's back. And I'm working with his wife. There's social media. Rubiel. When Rubiel part of the practice company, I found out through social media. He and I knew each other. We didn't have that business friendship relationship. You know what I mean? I found out he parted ways. And again, we were on opposite spectrum. He was going to one company, I was doing something else. He found out I was going, I found out he was going, hey, what are you up to? Let's chat. Boom, connection. Social media. If you're not taking advantage of a social media platform, many, by the way. I'm on Instagram, I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Facebook. I should be on more. There's new ones out now. There's Clubhouse, there's TikTok. I need to figure those out. But if you're not out there promoting the lifestyle, promoting what you do, promoting education, promoting not the services you offer. If you're not out there promoting that, you're missing out on a huge opportunity to build a massive operation. Massive operation, guys. I got agents in Hawaii because of social media. Now you want to take it to the next level? Build a YouTube channel. That's your next level. Boom, build a YouTube channel. That's a whole other level. I have a YouTube channel that I built. We just built this new one because of my own ego, my own chip on my shoulder. I want to build that one and get its subscribers to grow 100% organically from what we're doing in TKO. My other one I had videos in my other one with 20,000, 30,000 views. I had one video on my old YouTube channel that helped me recruit 7 different offices, 7 different states, and every office produced 40,000, 50,000 in annual premium because of that one video. Now, imagine if I do a video on YouTube, right? TKO Financial Network, independent agency versus Primerica versus WG. You know how many people would click onto that? You got Primerica, 125,000 agents. World Financial Group, 70,000 agents. You know how many people will research and stumble upon my YouTube channel? Be like, wait, what's this? What's TKO? Watch the video. Holy crap! Wait a minute, I want to know. Does he post his phone number on his videos? How many times y'all heard me verbally give my phone numbers on the video? Why? Because if somebody's curious, I want them to get access to me. Social media. Now, you got to get over that fear. Oh my God, I don't want to be recorded. Oh my God, da, 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 da. What equipment are you using, Tony? Cell phone, standard 1080p webcam that cost me $70 on Amazon. Nothing crazy. Can you do more? Of course you can. I'm not telling you not to. I'm telling you do something instead of not doing anything. My son and my daughter are setting up the lemonade stand. My son wanted everything to be perfect. Perfect before he went out there. You know, my daughter was like, hell no, I just want to get out there. My daughter made the first sales. Why? Because she wanted to get out there. She was like, I got lemonade in my hand. I got a cup with a hole in it. I'm going out. I'm going to talk to somebody. Meanwhile, my son is doing this and doing this. He wants everything to be perfect. You know what that taught me? Watching them, it taught me so much about you guys. Some of you guys refuse to take a step forward because you're waiting to perfect the business, and you're missing out on so much opportunity. There's so many learning lessons in just falling forward. This business is caught, it's not taught. You can sit in this class, you can sit in every single closer's class, be an hour early, take as many notes as you can. But if you're not willing to go out to the field and fall forward, if you're not willing to become the mayor of your community, be the insurance person, it's not going to happen for you. My daughter fell forward, started making sales. My son realized he was behind the 8 ball. So you know what he stopped doing? He stopped prepping, he started falling forward. So then he started making sales. That was on Saturday. On Sunday, not that many people came to his booth, to their booth. They set up a little booth in front of my house. On Sunday, not that many people did. So you know what my daughter did? She picked up the bucket of lemonade, the jug of lemonade, cups, started walking to people's houses and knocking on their door. She's like, if they're not gonna come to my booth, I'm gonna come to them. I love that. That mindset. How do I incorporate that to what you guys do, to what we do? If people aren't picking up your phone calls for leads, go to them. Get in your car, drop by their house and knock on their door. If my 9-year-old daughter could figure that out by herself, could figure out that she needed to take the product to them to sell the product, what in the world is stopping some of you guys from doing the same? Social media is kind of the same thing. If you're waiting for people to send you a DM, you're never going to get the DM. But if you post content and you post content and then people comment and you post more content, people will send you DMs. They will send you DMs. I repeat, they will, but you got to make that first move. You got to make that first move. You know what I also learned about my daughter and my son? One person can change the results for everybody. My daughter was willing to go out there and fall forward. My son realized he was behind the 8 ball and then followed her. And then they both won. If my daughter wasn't willing to fall forward, they both would have been sitting there, waiting, looking at each other for who's going to start, who's going to initiate. Who's the catalyst here? Who's the one that's going to fall forward and promote that they're falling forward? The only reason my son decided to take action is because he saw her taking action. You guys might not work next to each other, but you have a chat room called Voxer. You can promote what you're doing. You have social media that you can promote what you're doing. People, when they see you taking action, will be motivated to take action as well. It's the way they work. It's the way society is. So recruit a big team and show the team you're willing to fall forward. Show the team you're willing to fall forward. Lead from the front. Stop trying to perfect the business. Guys, TKO Financial Network is still not perfect. I've been waiting now for 5 months for a website to finish. It's frustrating to me. Can you imagine if I wouldn't have opened the doors until that website was up and going? We would have never. Guys, February, March, April, May. We're still in May. February, March, April, 3 months. February, March, April, we probably turned in close to 220-something thousand in annual premium. That's money that we wouldn't have done if I was still waiting for everything to be perfect with TKO Financial Network. Jarvis went from a 5-day drip campaign to a 12-day drip campaign, now to 12-week drip campaign. It wouldn't have, like, imagine if I wouldn't have started it until then. I've made sales off Jarvis. I know agents who've made sales off Jarvis. You know what's crazy is there's people that hit me up asking me access to Jarvis who don't work with me. Do you know why? Social media. I just recruited an agency in Texas. Okay. 100%. Do you know why? Because of the promotion that I give to social media, the promotion I give to Jarvis on social media. They're tech people. They're like, we've wanted something like this forever. How can we get access to it? I said, well, the only people who get access to it are people that are in my agency. So if you're willing to look at comps between your company and mine, and you're willing to move some stuff over and do some stuff over here, I'll give you access to Jarvis. That's what recruited them. But I promote it. If I don't promote, nothing happens. If I don't promote, nothing happens. So what are some tips I could give you, right? Create some Facebook groups. Create a 401k Facebook group. Create a tax-free retirement Facebook group. Get your own peers in that group. And every time you sit in on a training, create a life insurance group as well, by the way. And every time you sit in on a training, take some of the stuff that I taught you and post it on those groups. And post it on your public page too. By the way, make your profile page public. You want people to find you. People ask me that all the time. Do I make it public? Do I keep it private to just my people? Well, I'd be like saying I'm gonna put a McDonald's, or a Subway here in this corner here, but I only want these people from the right side to come in. I don't want people from the left side of the community to come. No, you want everybody to come in public. Make everything public. Let them see you. Post about your family. Post about your freedom of time. Post about the education of the things that you've learned. You don't know who secretly is dying to be around that positivity or that type of education. You don't know who just got laid off and you're posting stuff about 401ks and benefits and rollovers. You don't know who just got laid off that's going to send you a DM. You don't know who just lost somebody in their family and is looking for life insurance and you know who to talk to, but you're the one who's talking about it. You don't know which person is looking to buy back more time and trying to find a business to get into. You don't know. You do not know. If someone said to me, Tony, you're one day going to run an agency that's going to have over 200 licensed agents that's going to, move its path to 500 and then 1,000, I would have said, no way. I have no idea who would be the first agent. I would have never known any of this. But if I don't post, I don't advertise, it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. Join groups and create groups and post. Post. Matter of fact, I have a couple of those groups that I haven't been using. I'm gonna revive them. I'm gonna start posting on my groups. I have a 401k group. I have a life insurance group. I have an entrepreneurial group. I have all three of those. All I gotta do is just post it there because now my audience is more than my existing agents. Fall forward. Are you willing to do the same? Are you willing to take your social media game to another level? Add people to your group that you don't know. Post 3 to 5 times a day content, valuable content that they can appreciate. That's what I do. And when I recruit, I get into that market. I get into that market by training the agent how to work in that market. I get into that market by writing business with them and splitting commissions 50-50. And then out of the 10 people that I trained, this is the number that I also wish was a dollar per dollar. Was a one-to-one conversion, but it's not. Out of 10 people I trained, 3 of them actually learn the stuff that I teach them and start going at it by themselves and generating income by themselves. The other 7, they just prefer to send referrals over, which is okay too. There's nothing wrong with that. You get 10, 20 agents that just want to send you referrals that don't want to really learn the business and they're okay splitting it with you 50-50. Are you upset with that? No. I prefer that they learn how to do it themselves, which is why I value the 3 who do want to learn it by themselves, the 3 that do want to go at it by themselves, because now they're writing business by themselves without me there, and they're making money and the agency's overridden. Social media is the place. Notice I don't spend any money on ads. You could. Like I know a couple of people that they want to get more people following certain groups, so they spend $50 and so Facebook does what it does. You could. I'm showing you the way I've done it free. If Facebook and Instagram start charging me $1,000 a month, I have to pay it. That's how much revenue social media brings me. If they start charging monthly, I have to pay it. That's how much revenue it brings. Honestly. But you've got to become loudspeakers to your community. These types of trainings, it's one thing I used to do when I was a practice company. I'd have a notebook. And I would just be hearing, listening in for quotes. That's all I wanted to hear is really good quotes and really good educational sessions. And every time I heard a quote, I'd write the quote down and I'd highlight it. Take another quote, write it down, highlight it, highlight it. By the time I was done with one of their events, I had 30 quotes. Every quote was a post. Every quote, boom, post, boom, post, boom, post. I had a month's worth of stuff. 3 to 5 times a day I post. Sometimes I take old quotes and I repost them. Because why? My audience is always changing, but my content doesn't. A BO1 presentation is always the same BO1 presentation, but the audience changes. So don't think, oh, but I posted this stuff a month ago. No, be worried if in the last month you haven't added new people. If you haven't, that's your messed up. That's your mistake. But if you have, post it again. There's people who haven't seen your content. 100%. Are there tools that you can use? Of course there is. Look, there's a tool on your phone called, I'll show it to you. It's called Hootsuite. It's an orange application with a little black owl. Hootsuite costs like $7 a month. You know what Hootsuite does? You post one time and Hootsuite sends it to all of your social medias at the same time. Your Instagram, your Twitter, your Facebook pages, your Facebook professional, sends it to all of them at the same time. So you can post one time and send it to 7 platforms at the same time. Stories, post your stories. Sometimes I'll post a timeline, I'll take a screenshot of my timeline and I'll post it in my stories. You wait an hour and you see who viewed your post. Whoever viewed your post, it might be somebody we're hitting up. Might be with somebody you're talking to. It's what you need to do, guys. Text messages and social media. If I was to give you guys any tips right now on today's way of communicating, I'm not telling you to only do that. There's still a lot of power with a phone conversation. There's still a lot of power with a virtual Zoom meeting. This is why I like to see you. I want to see your cameras on to see how much engagement you have versus just your picture. That's why it's important. That matters. However, don't dismiss the speed that text messages and social media have. If there's two things I would want you to question whether you do it enough in your business, is that I do anywhere from 6,000 to 10,000 text messages a month. And my social media, oh my God. But if there's two things I would want you to check, is that how many text messages are you sending? How much social media time are you spending in your business? Because those are two advertisement techniques that you need to take advantage of. There's over a 72% open ratio on text messages versus emails. 72. Work your business, guys. Leverage these free resources. This device right here, guys, is a device that I never compromise on the quality of it. Never. I had an iPad. I have an iPad that I've had now for 5 years. I had my MacBook. I just recently got a new MacBook, but my old MacBook I had it since 2011. So I went from 11 to 20, 9 years, same one. I'm not very big about getting all new stuff, but this right here, every year and a half I get a new one. Because this right here is a tool. Without this, there's nothing. Without this, nothing. It's a computer in a hand. It's a computer in a hand. Sometimes I'll tell Sandra if we're going to Miami, hey, can you drive? Because I'll spend an hour, social media, text messages, this, that. Like, there's a couple apps that I have. There's an app that I have called Later, Later. Later. You know what that app does? It lets me, at nighttime, if I can't sleep, pre-set up text messages that I want to send to people. And I tell Later what time to send them. And so it might be 2 in the morning, but then I tell the system at 9 a.m. send it. And at 9 a.m., they all go out at the same time. Like, those tools are priceless. Social media, priceless. It's the way people communicate nowadays. Think about it. You hear about a natural disaster, you hear about things going on, like Colombia right now has some ugly things going on, Israel right now has some ugly things going on. Are you catching it on the 7 o'clock news, or are you catching it on your news feed on your social media? Social media, where is that? When you go to the bathroom, do you bring your cell phone with you? Don't lie. It's true. Sanitize it, clean it, okay? But I'm just being dead honest with you. If you're not using social media, if you're not leveraging text messages, I mean, it's kind of like saying to yourself, I want to run a business in the 90s without, I want to run a business without a computer. You want to stay antiquated? You want to stay old school? You're missing out on so much business. So much business you guys are missing out on by not leveraging it. by not leveraging. And some of y'all don't leverage it because you're like, I don't know it, I don't understand it. Well, get to know it, get to understand it. Fall forward, make a mistake, sign up for a class. You want to know what's the best way to learn social media? Go talk to a teenager. Literally, I want to learn about TikTok. You know what I'm doing? We'll find a couple teenagers doing TikTok. Show me what you got. But don't miss out. There's so much opportunity there. Again, I promote more entrepreneurship. I promote more time freedom. I promote more, showing grace for the life that I have. I promote more the education in the financial services industry. But I'm also friend requesting people in that industry, or friend requesting people in companies that I know and letting go of people. Because I need my audience, just like I said to you guys, if I want to find people with lump sum money for houses they sold, I got to find the audience. How do I find them? I find them through realtors. So if I want to find people that can roll over their money, I want to find people that are losing their work. And if I find people that are losing their work, I can friend request those people. And now I can talk about a topic that I have a high probability they might want to know more about. It's kind of cool. I'm always adding people to my social media that I meet, that I encounter with, that I talk to, that I did. If I do a recruiting interview, I'm getting on your social media before we leave. If I'm doing a field presentation, I'm getting on your social media before we leave, because you might not do business with me now, but you're going to see my face, and it's going to come the time when you're going to meet me. Simple as that. Simple as that. Leverage it. Free. Mobile. Can't get better than that.